welcome to Clean Coder YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, I'll highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel as I make content related to software engineering, system design, and data structures and algorithms. Welcome to part 6 of this series, and in this part, we are going to talk about handling exceptions in Java. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay, so in the Java API, there are plenty of places, right, where things can go wrong, and some of these places are marked with exceptions, either in the signature or in the Java docs. So, like these sorts of signatures or like warnings you can see before the method name. So there are a lot of exceptions in Java, and things can go wrong a lot, right? So let's read this theory. As stated a little bit earlier, when we call these risky methods, we must handle the checked exceptions. So checked exceptions we must handle, right? So without this, compiler won't allow us to proceed. So this is mandatory to handle. But like we may handle unchecked ones. Unchecked ones are like optional. They can occur at runtime, but like it's always good to handle even the unchecked ones also. But like Java compiler won't stop us if we don't handle unchecked exceptions. So Java gives us several ways to handle this. Let's explore them a bit. So the very first keyword which we have seen a lot is the throws keyword, right? So how throws keyword is used, let's see this in great detail. So the simplest way to handle an exception is to rethrow it, right? So because file not found exception is a checked exception, this is the simplest way to satisfy the compiler, but it does not mean that calls that anyone that calls our method now needs to handle it too. So throws is like uh, asking the caller to handle the exception. Like we are delegating the exception handling part to the caller. So from our responsibility, it becomes caller's responsibility to handle that, or even he can throw that exception and his caller can handle that. So something like this we can do using throws keyword. So let's read the third point now. Parseint can throw a number format exception, but because it is unchecked, we aren't required to handle it, right? So that's about the throws keyword. So now let's move forward. So this is the most widely used exception handling mechanism in Java, I would say, using the try catch. So what try catch does is like we surround the statement from which we are suspecting an exception, and we can handle the corresponding exception in the catch block. So this is what we are going to do. So let's read this point. We want to try and handle exceptions ourselves. We can use a try catch block, and we can handle it by rethrowing our exception, right? So from this lines, file not found exception can happen, right? So this file, player file, might not be there. So the JVM can throw file not found exception. So we are handling that, and we are converting this file not found into a kind of illegal argument exception, and we are throwing that directly. Okay, so now let's move forward. So there is this another keyword called finally. So what does finally do? So let's read these points one by one. So now there are times when we have code that needs to be executed regardless of whether an exception occurs, and this is where finally keyword comes in, right? This finally things always execute whether exception occurs or does not occur. So even if you put return statements, finally still executes. If even if you put return statements in catch, finally still executes. So this is a kind of common misconception that finally will not be executed since you have returned from catch, but like finally still executes. So this is about finally. Let's go through the second point. So in our example so far, there has been a nasty bug lurking in the shadows, which is that Java by default won't return file handles to the operating system. Okay, so certainly whether we can read the file or not, we want to make sure that we do the appropriate cleanup, right? So we need to close the buffers which we opened for reading the file, right? So the close calls, those kind of closing calls, we can do that in the finally block, because finally always executes, right? So contents, we opened this contents and we are closing that here. This is what is accomplished by the finally block. So now let's move forward. Now there are certain points. Let's read these one by one. Now there are times when we have code that needs to execute regardless of whether an execution occurs. Yeah, execution can occur or it may not occur. So this is where the finally keyword comes in handy, right? Finally always executes. So which is Java. Yeah, second point. I don't know why it's getting repeated. Third point, certainly whether we can read the file or not, we want to make sure that we do the appropriate cleanup. So let's try this lazy way first. Okay, block. Okay, so here the finally block. Here the finally block indicates what code we want Java to run, regardless of what happens with trying to read the file. Okay, so this will always execute regardless of whatever happens here. Even if file not found exception is thrown up the call stack, Java will call the contents of finally before doing that, right? And we can also both handle the exception and make sure that our resources are closed. Our resources gets closed, so we can do that definitely. So now let's move to the next slide. Okay. So again, this is a code snippet where we are handling file not found exception and we have a finally block. Now the catch here is like while closing this contents, IO exception can happen, right? So we are having try catch in the finally. So yes, we can have that, and the construct could be like this as well. So let's read these points one by one, because close is also a risky method. We also need to catch its exception. That's what it's trying to signify. So this may look pretty complicated, yeah, but we need each piece to handle each potential problem that can arise correctly. This is what it's trying to explain. So there is another construct which we can use to do the exception handling, and that is try with resources. So fortunately, as of Java 7, we can simplify the above syntax when working with things that extend auto-closable. So the things which extend auto-closable, we can put them in try directly, like the scanners and all, and then we need not worry about closing them. This try catch would automatically close them. Okay, so let's read this theory. When we place reference that are auto-closable in the try declaration, then we don't need to close the resources ourselves. We can still use a finally block, though to do any other kind of cleanup we want, right? Yeah, we can still have a finally, but like we need not close this thing which we have put it in the try with resources block. So let's move forward now to the multiple catch blocks part. So sometimes the code can throw more than one exception, right? And we can have more than one catch blocks, handle each individually. So this IO exception, number format exception, this code snippet can throw both of these, right? So multiple catches gives us the chance to handle each exception differently, right? Also note that there we don't catch file not found exception, and that is because it extends IO exception. Yeah, true. IO exception is the parent class, so even if file not found happens, IO exception is still going to catch it. So that's about it. Because we are catching IO exception, Java will consider any of its subclasses are also under true. Let's also say that we need to treat file not found exception differently from more general IO exception, right? So we want to do this. What we can do is basically we can put that above in this list. So file not found exception, we can put that above in this list, and then JVM will ensure that it is handled separately from IO exception, right? So this order would be obeyed, and file not found will be hit first, and then IO exception. If it's not a file not found, any other exception falling in IO exception hierarchy, then it will get catch here. Okay. So Java let us handle subclass exceptions separately. Remember to place them higher in the list of catches. That's true. Okay. So let's move to the next slide now. Also note that we didn't catch file not found exception. That is because it extends IO exception. Because we are catching IO exception, Java will consider, yeah, this part we have gone through. Let's say though we need to treat file not exception, yeah, differently we can place that higher in the hierarchy, right? Yeah, this part we have gone through. This is getting repeated. So the next part is the union catch block. So what are union catch blocks? So these just kind of makes the different catch blocks a bit simpler, because most of the time we are logging the exception to the logger. So what we can do is we can have this separator, and we can put both of like different exceptions like these E, and whichever gets thrown, all these things would get performed for that. So when we know that we handle error is going to be same, right? It's the same for different exception. So Java 7 introduced this ability to catch multiple exceptions in the same block. So we can have this construct. Okay, this is called union catch blocks. So now let's move to the next slide. So that's all I think which I have for this session. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and have a great day. Hey guys, do check out this Instagram channel, Team Coder Community, for all the jokes and memes related to software engineering. Thanks a lot.